Water is draining at the rate of 48 pi feet cubed per second from the vertex of the bottom of a conical tank, whose diameter at its base is 40 feet and whose height is 60 feet. 40 feet across is the radius of 20 and 60 feet height. V equals 1/3 pi r squared times h is the equation for a conical tank. A says find an expression for the volume of water in the tank in terms of its radius at the surface of the water, which means you want to take that equation and get rid of the h. So to do that, you use an instant box. 60 is the height, h is high is the radius, and you solve for r. 20 over 60 with the ratio equals r over h. Divide by 60 so that you can get r equals h over 3. So for A, it's V equals 1/3 pi r squared times 3r. V equals pi r cubed. Simplified. B, at what rate is the radius of the water in the tank shrinking when the radius is 16 feet? So you do the derivative dv dt equals 3 pi r squared times dr dt, and then you have dv dt equals 3 pi 16 squared because the radius is 16 feet, dr dt. Negative 48 is the dv dt because that's what the rate of change is in the original problem, equals 3 pi 16 squared dr dt. Then you take a 16 times 3 is 48, so you take a 16 out of here and a 16 out of here, so you get negative 3 pi equals 3 pi 16 dr dt. And then you have negative 1 because you get rid of 3 pi on one side and 3 pi on the other side, so that gives you negative 1 equals 16 dr dt. Divided by 16 is negative 1 over 16 equals dr dt. Now you have to solve for h. 60r equals 20h divided by 20 gives you 3r equals h. C says how fast is the height of the water in the tank dropping at the instant that the radius is 16 feet. So you have to change the r's to h's. So V equals 1/3 pi h over 3 squared times h. V equals h over 3 pi h3 squared. When you combine, you get V equals pi h3 over h over 3 cubed. And then when you cube the 3, you get pi times h cubed over 27. Then V equals pi over 27 times h cubed. Then you do the derivative, which is dv dt equals pi over 27 times 3h squared times dh dt. Then you put negative 48 pi because that's what the instant change of rate of change is in the beginning problem. And you get equals pi over 27 times 3h squared times dh dt. And then you do an instant box. 3r equals h. 316 because that's what the instant is, 16 feet equals h, which is 48 equals h. So you have negative 48 pi equals pi over 27 times 3 times 48 squared times dh dt. Then you have negative pi because you got rid of a 48 on both sides because it's squared. So negative pi equals pi over 22 times 3 times 48 times dh dt. And then you have negative pi equals 3 pi over 27 times 48 dh dt. Negative pi equals pi over 9, 48 because that simplifies 3 over 27 times dh dt. And then you have negative pi equals 48 over 9 times pi equals dh dt. And to get rid of the 48 over 9, you times both sides by 9 over 48. And it cancels out on this side. And then on this side you have negative 9 pi over 48 equals pi times dh dt. And then you cancel a pi out on both sides and you have negative 9 over 48 equals dh dt for C.